Welcome to Chones Party with G2. I'm actually really thinking this is going to be a fun conversation. It feels like hanging out with you is always very fun, but also like our Venn diagrams only overlap in certain spots. So I get to hear about things that I don't normally interact with. And also, like, you have a just like I just really respect like this kind of like saga, like odyssey that you kind of like. It just feels like you have a whole odyssey that you bring to whatever you're working on or communicating about, which is
Sure.
super fun. So thank you so much for joining today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So I hope you don't mind, but I'd like to start with Monster. I do remember the first
Yeah.
time I heard it. I was like walking down the street one morning, and I don't know if you sent it to me or if I saw it somewhere, but I put it in my ears and was walking down the street, and it was super fun. So maybe you wouldn't mind talking about like your relationship with music and where the song comes from.
Yeah. So, music. The Monster song. Yeah, the Monster. Well, I guess I give a little background. I've been making music since 18. So I mean, that's been about, I don't know, almost 20 years or so. So, um, during my journey making music, studio on my own, and then kind of had some other studios after that, and then I ended up moving to LA, and I worked with the team that produced, so like um, Bring It On, all these different franchises that were coming out under Disney. So so I worked with a lot of kids in music and momagers and stuff. Then after that, I proceeded to do music for Interscope. So I got to deal with Interscope, doing music with them, and um, along the way, like I as firsthand what it's like being in the industry, and you know, meeting a lot of dope artists that never went anywhere. I mean, why, how come I've never heard of you before? And it's just I don't know why that business works. So, getting that first hand um, experience was really eye opening for me. So I ended up actually starting my own production company after right after the whole Interscope deal went, and I I found an artist in the Middle East from Iraq who at the time, like, I didn't know her background when I discovered her. I went on like Instagram and found her, and she was like, yeah, she she would deal with the Dream, a singer songwriter artist named the Dream, and I was like, oh, think about some of this music I got, and would you like to do something different? And she was like, yeah, it's hot. And then yeah, we ended up working together, and she actually became a success. And a lot of documents. Her name's Helly Love. You can Google her, and it's actually Love is spelled Luv. So, but you'll find her, and it was a really big success. And from there, I learned a lot. Just taking an artist who well, yeah, she had to deal with the dream, but she had never been really heard. Like she really didn't have no art, no music out or anything like that. So turning it into who she is today was a great experience, and the travel was fun as well, traveling around the world. Um, so now moving forward, I had a bunch of music along my journey, right, that I created, and Monster was one of those songs that was created along my journey. And I worked with an artist at the time named Cameron Rowe, who honestly he's actually a writer for. We were speaking on this a little earlier. He's a writer for Will I Am, and but yeah, he also is an artist. But he has like some music on Spotify and Apple Music. But again, another talent that just was kind of unheard. So I was like, yo, let me start putting out my own music that like these are that there's no point in just letting it sit around. So I started packaging it up, and I think kind of thinking through this through Web3 was out, and I'm building in that space, and find NFTs like just getting started. I think this is around like CryptoKitties era, and I'm like, yeah, okay, well, we could do this, and so yeah, yeah. So that's kind of where we're going now. We're kind of um, I'm playing around with traditional distribution, which is the most artists would know, like Apple Music, Spotify, Beatport, all these other different music streaming services. And I'm also blending that with Web3, and from my own experience and accounts, finding the best ways and easy ways to blend Web3 in with that. So you don't have to kind of get rid of the old school way, or whatever you want to call it, traditional methods. You can keep that and also adapt to. That's how we got there.
Yeah, so maybe we can elaborate on that. Sounds like you're describing creative. So you have all this experience with music, and the business of music. And is that like the inspiration for starting creative and the work you're doing with it? Maybe you can kind of give us a little like backstory, like origin story, and then like what you're actually working on to solve.
Yeah, yeah. So, so I mean, um, so like inspiration. Um, so it's just a way to connect with a with a deep human experience of emotion and storytelling, right? And that emotional connection is really what drove me to be able to build the creative platform. Creative platform is essentially a suite, a suite, maybe an operating system of different applications or tools that intertwine um, web and traditional distribution methods, like I mentioned earlier, Spotify, Apple Music, places like that. Um, so the inspiration basically for creative was it absolutely came from my experiences with music, and and um, and I guess challenges all the and also it challenges the creative professionals as well. So so I saw a huge gap in my journey as a music producer, and I learned, it was, a lot of artists and creators, they work really hard to do what it is that they love to do, to make it as perfect as they can, and but they also lose, and after all that's said and done, a lot of them lose a lot of control over their content, their earnings, their long-term wealth, and they lose this to like big companies, It can be something like anything from advertising slots to major record label, and even private investors. There's a lot of artists that are independent, but they're tied to someone in the back putting up the money for their lifestyle to do what it is that they want to do. So, and a lot of artists lose a lot of control as a result of that to try to get themselves heard. Um, so what the creative platform is with the suite of Web3 powered software solutions. Um, it's all about shifting the power back to the creator, and our goal is really to support creatives in monetizing their intellectual property and securing that long term wealth. So it's a new infrastructure that a creative professional could run their entire business on their own terms and give them full control and 100% of their own revenue.
That's like the dream. That would be so awesome if everyone's just like converted to the creative, and then whatever influence every all the other old fashioned thing has loses it.
Yeah, and it's like, and maybe it's not necessarily, I mean, maybe it's not necessarily conversion. It's just blending it with what you already use.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to try to make it seem like it will replace everything or be the one shop all type of thing, but definitely a place where you can expand your reach, reach other listeners or viewers or potential buyers outside of just what we use today. We don't know how long the existing applications that we use now will
Mm-hmm.
be around, but nothing wrong with double dipping, in my opinion. So at least when it comes to your art.
Yeah, and in all these, every time I see, I think I first met you, it was like might have been 2022, 2023, and since then creative is like always on the cutting edge of tech. And you talk about Web3, but you're also like on the edge of the newest AI too. And it's always to support creatives. And so, like, now I want to know, okay, you have this empathy for what like creativity needs, but also you have this like really tapped in, current perspective of like what the newest innovation is in tech. And so how do you balance that, and then how do you also discern like what's useful and what's a distraction?
That's a good question. Yeah. So, so I guess the best way to explain this would be so basically like the balance is I guess the balance is at the very core of what we do, and the empathy part is is basically our guiding principle, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what that means is it's about understanding the creator's fundamental needs, um, which which they probably will be agreeable that those things would be fair compensation and simplicity. The platform and tools that we've been building are, they weren't built for the sake of the technology itself, uh, but it was built to solve, a real problem for working creatives. So basically, we balance that empathy and innovation by focusing the development on practical creator centric solutions. For instance, right now we've been working on people are probably familiar by now with deep fakes. Deep fakes are uh, videos or AI generated videos that like it looks like something that, but it's not. Like it could be like the president of the United States giving a speech or State of a Union address, right? But it's not really him, and it looks real. I've seen a few that are really good, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like, we have these key points by Apple. Yeah, you can see a deep fake. It could be a deep fake version of that, and you think, okay, they're coming out with a new product, and this product is actually a made up product or something like that. Um, so I've been working along with companies like Microsoft, Adobe, and Sony, and to develop what's called C2PA standards. And what that is basically a way to differentiate between what is human created, and what is AI created. So if you would the way you would visualize this or see this or see this in effect is when there is a video, there's maybe a little check mark in the corner of that video, like a little small little green check mark or something, and it or a badge, and that may signify that, hey, this is actually a human being and not AI. That would be something that over time, obviously, has to be implemented in some way, but you know that's something that we're working to solve. Um, and basically, what it does is it ensures that you know by adding things like that into our software, it helps to ensure that our tools meet professional creative needs, just keeping up with what's current and what helps to solve a problem. Um, when it comes to discerning what's useful versus what's a distraction, I pretty much applied two different filters actually directly empower the creative to own their IP and revenue. That's the first question. The second question I ask is, does it make their day-to-day business easier? Those are the two questions that I lead off with when trying to differentiate, because our focus is really on blockchain technology, um, making it a great example in how we implement it, and and also making sure that we're not using and that it has a core utility, um, and like I said, in what I mentioned earlier, our fundamental needs as to does it help represent true ownership and transparency. So, we also like engaging with other communities as a result in this Web3 space, like Farcaster and Lens. And this just helps to ensure that we're building where the creative professionals are, and also it helps us to make sure we stay ahead of the curve and not fall behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and staying ahead, it feels like you always have something new. So, is there anything?
That's true.
um, is that what's the most recent um, whatever development that you have today, and how do we engage?
Yeah. So we have several new developments right now that I feel are helping to push boundaries in some way for the creators. Um, and I guess first, you mentioned music first in this conversation. Um, so I actually released my first EDM solo album over on my birthday, which was a couple days ago, and it it has 10 tracks. It's called Synaptic Surge, and why I call it Synaptic Surge, I just felt that the music that is in it, um, it's not everyday. It's probably really not the most everyday traditional music. It's just but it's also a blend of familiar. Like it has a familiarity to it, so it's not like completely different. And during this time, um, I was just really kind of rebuilding myself because I was coming out of pop, and so I created this album. And also, I think it represents I think it represents the platform, creative platform in a way, because it's kind of like I say, I try to use my own projects and my own examples to make sure that um, to use. Um, so I feel that it helped, by using this, and I mean by creating this album, that it creates, an example of control and
Mm-hmm.
empowering, and um, for artists to just distribute their own work and fully own it. Second, another project that I've released recently, or haven't released this one just yet, but it's getting ready to roll out really soon. I just got the approval from Coinbase,
Oh,
but
sweet.
it's called Beat Me,
Mm-hmm.
and Beat Me is a fast-paced song. Um, it's a fast-paced song guessing game, and it was built during. I built this during the On Chain Summit in San Francisco, and what what the way you play it is players basically guess popular songs against other players. So there's a real time. I have a real time like database thing or whatever that allows you to play against others. So this will be available on Farcaster. So you'll be able to play with your Farcaster friends. And basically, you get 10 seconds to name the tune. So, the game starts, you get 10 seconds, plays it plays popular songs, by the way, like popular songs from like the radio and stuff. So like Billboard Top 100, stuff like that. So you have 10 seconds to name the song, and as a result, you win rewards. So there's USDC that's involved in the game. Um, as a when you get into the game, you pay $1 to entry, and then you go for it. And then if you're the faster you guess, the more points you get. And at the end, of the 3 rounds, there's 3 rounds. At the end of the 3 rounds, you find out whether or not you get rewarded. So that's the second development that coming soon. And the goal there is just really just to make music discovery a little more fun. And the other development that I have coming out is Creative TV. Uh, Creative TV is basically shaping up to become the next MTV on chain,
Oh,
and it's our
sweet.
decentralized live streaming platform that's designed to revolutionize how music and culture are broadcasted.
Mm.
So imagine like classic MTV where it focuses on creator driven content, but unlike traditional media, it gives creators 100% revenue retention. You get your own social tokens, also called coined me tokens, and nation, which also ensures that they fully own their future and their content. And the last update is around creative AI, which is evolving really, really fast, really rapid. But essentially, what we're developing on our side is a factory of AI agents that that are designed to be creative professionals, and or the or a creative's business partner, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
So by having these it's kind of like it basically gives you the ability to streamline your day-to-day business activities as a creator. So things like, imagine, like scheduling, marketing, content generation, but also it changes. It's applied to like the video production. So I also have, you know, um, a creative studio. It's called Pixels right now, but essentially it's AI generation, and it allows you to create AI generated videos, music videos, lyric videos, kind of, you know, practically. I mean, we haven't gotten to the cinematic yet, but definitely some really good, useful ways to engage with your audience in delivering your, creative arts in some in this manner, in video format. So those are kind of like all the updates we're currently working through right now. Um, and if you want to stay in touch and follow up and 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 find out more information about those updates, just we have a newsletter called Dear Creative. You can access that by going to news.creativeplatform.xyz. And yeah, we been a little heads down. I'll admit, I have been a little heads down over the last few months. I've been in a lot of hackathons and things. Just had to get a little money up and stuff like that. But we're back and making some new posts this month. So look forward for that, and go ahead and follow up with whatever we have there currently. So
Yeah, I'll include all those links when I publish this in a blog too. That's cool. I feel
sweet.
I feel like we need the AI maybe for these Chones parties because it's just this common ground static screen the whole time.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I'm definitely gonna have you guys test it out first, so you can let me know
Yeah,
bugs.
and you testing out your songs on Creative too. It reminds me how I call us lab rats in lab coats.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
yeah. Last question. Um, so just kind of, you know, dreaming here. Looking forward. Like, what are your intentions for creative and for yourself? And thinking of just like not just what we talked about here, but like, you're an artist, you're an innovator, you're human, you have friends and family. Just like kind of give us maybe some hope.
Yeah. Okay. Um. So looking forward, my intentions for the creative platform are basically to ensure the continued growth and seamless integration of our services. That's the first thing that is on my mind. Um, the second, moving forward, is I think my ultimate goal though is ultimate goal would be to see the platform become an essential tool.
Mm.
Something that what I imagine is a creative being able to go to creative platform that XYZ. Um, you know, there's a button on the website right now that we can access the software, and when they click that button, it takes them straight to the software suite and tools. I've been working on a better way to. It's kind of like I have a view right now. It's like a terminal,
Mm-hmm.
where you can type and talk, like text based typing type of thing. Um, but I also have a view that I've been working on where it's an AI agent that comes up,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of typing, you can just talk to it
Mm-hmm.
naturally, and it'll give you the links as to where you want to go within the creative platform.
Mm.
Um, that's been a really good experience, experimentation. So um, looking forward to that update for sure. But you'll have two options. You'll be able to have a text, was it text to, you'll have an LLM that can respond to you if you want to do the typing, if you like that comfortable. Like, I think more devs would like that personally. And then you can switch to the other view, which is, like I mentioned, is the AI agent will come up on the screen and talk to you. But and then for myself, as an artist, as an innovator and a human, um, I think my intention is to keep things simple, and to continually align my work with my values. And basically, that means focusing on building technology that genuinely serves people, that simplifies their lives, and helps them build long term sustainability and wealth. So that's something I believe in heavily about. So, and I believe every creative should have the ability or tools to have that, and and up to my family and my friends as well. So
That sounds great. Thank you. This has been really fun.
thank
I
you,
really
thank
appreciate
you,
you
thank you.
here.
Anytime, anytime. I love hanging out with the Chonies.
Yeah. Chones loves creative. Yeah.